Cheers, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where you can expect weekly videos from me all about menopause. I have nothing against HRT. I know HRT has amazing results for some ladies. Some women can't take HRT. I've chosen a natural route and I just share what I've used and what I found has worked really, really well for me. I really want you to understand that you can get through the menopause and actually thrive and not survive. I speak to so many ladies who are in the situation where they're just literally struggling along. They've no energy, they've no libido, they just don't recognize themselves anymore. And the way I see it is it's not about trying to be the person that we were before perimenopause arrived or hit us like a freight train. It's more about finding out where we're at and maximizing the resources and the assets that we have available to us to go on into our latter life or second half of our life and really thrive, honestly and truly thrive. Wake up with energy, go through your day feeling energized, even if you've had a bad night's sleep. Have some control over your mood swings, reduce your hot flushes, reduce the symptoms that you're getting, improve your joint pain, that sort of thing. Well, I talk a lot about adaptogen herbs, and actually I get asked, it's probably my most common question is, what are those adaptogen herbs that you take? What do they do? Why do you take them? So I thought I'd do a Menopause Monday today specifically on adaptogen herbs. So adaptogen herbs, what are they? They're a blend of brain fog. They are a variety, that was the word, variety of mushrooms, roots, some plants, herbs, etc., etc. In fact, turmeric or curcumin in turmeric, which gives it its bright yellow color, that is actually an adaptogen herb. So is ginger, so is sage. So you might actually be having them without even realizing that you're taking them. I take a mixture of 8 every day. I will go over those in more detail in a little while. But really, what are adaptogens? They grow in very hard to survive places, so very harsh environments, which is what gives them their adaptogenic nature, because they adapt to stress. And the fact that they adapt to stress is why they are so important for us, because you imagine the plant living in such harsh climates, maybe, say, for instance, in Iceland. So it's either freezing cold or it's volcanically hot. And there are some adaptogens that live over there and they thrive because they've become so good at balancing out how they manage their environments. And the same when we eat or drink or use adaptogen herbs, we get that similar benefit. It enables us to adapt to our environment. I suppose that's why they're called adaptogenic herbs, because they adapt. They are balancers. So like I said, they're plants, some of them they are mushrooms, some of them are roots. If you can hear banging in the background, by the way, it's because I've got builders working on my roof, so apologies. Oh, they're going back up again. I really hope they don't look in while. So I'm always embarrassed when I'm doing a video. I think they've gone up. I've got scaffolding literally just outside my window. But they are all non-toxic as well, which is obviously very important. Some people say, well, what, like mushrooms, and I can't remember the name of the person, but there was a mushroom pioneer who killed herself because she ate the wrong type of mushroom. And I don't know about you, if somebody's picked mushrooms from the wild and said, look, we're having my home picked mushrooms tonight, I'm always like, I think I'll let you eat them first just in case. No, they are completely non-toxic. They're all super, super safe. When you are getting adaptogen herbs, you need to be just mindful of the fact that there are mass-produced adaptogenic herbs below the vegetation line. I know China's mass-producing a lot, probably other countries are as well. You want to make sure you're getting them from country of origin. So, maybe do a little bit of Googling. A lot of them come from Peru, Southeast Asia, India, parts of Africa, but just make sure that you're getting them from a reliable source so that you're not wasting your money, because it's unfortunately is the way the world is people try and just make a quick buck out of people who want to do better for themselves. And I think it's really frustrating that then the whole point of them being adaptogen herbs is because they adapt to their stressful environment. Well, if you're growing them in a greenhouse at ground level, it's not very stressful, is it? So they are balancers. They help us balance our hormones. I think that's why for menopause they are so, and perimenopause, when our, you know, our hormones are all up and down, they are so beneficial because they help to regulate. They are not a cure-all. But they're going to help reduce that response that you get. So if you're suffering with anxiety, they're going to lessen that anxiety burden. If you are struggling with your sleep, they're going to help your body cope with the fact that you haven't slept very well. My sleep has been terrible recently. One of my little dogs has got a tummy upset and she's up and down throughout the night. I have to keep putting her out, and I go out with her and I have to make sure everything's okay with her. I'm exhausted, but I feel fine. I'm exhausted, but I'm quite capable of managing. I'm in the middle of a house renovation too. So, you know, I suppose this is proof of the pudding, is the fact these bloody things work. And before I started to take adaptogenic herbs, I didn't feel the way I feel now. When I had my double bunionectomy surgery back in May, I had to stop them for a week before my operation, just because you're supposed to stop all sorts of medications, and although they're not medications, but you know, you're advised to stop these sorts of things. And so I did, and within 3 days it was just like, oh God, I felt down in the dumps. I felt sluggish. I just felt bleh. And literally the first thing I did as soon as I'd had my operation and was out of hospital was get my adaptogen herbs again, and I noticed it literally pretty much within 48 hours. I swear by them. They also help you reduce belly fat, which is a great side product because they help us manage stress, and belly fat is not all, but largely related to our stress response. So when our cortisol levels are high, the adaptogen herbs help to bring the cortisol levels low. In the case of things like adrenal fatigue, where you're actually not making enough cortisol in your body, it helps to support the levels of cortisol that you've already got. I think the simplest way to say is that they are a bit like an invisible hug, and they're a great balancer. It's almost like having a calm philosopher following you around. I mean, not all the time. There are days when I just think, bah! But not that isn't as bad as it might otherwise be. I think another reason, I mean, ginger is an adaptogen herb. A lot of us are eating these things without us even realizing they've been around for years. They form part of Ayurvedic medicine, ancient Chinese medicine. They've been using adaptogen herbs, so it's nothing new. But recently, they're becoming more popular. It was the Chinese, I think it was in China. I should have checked this date before I came on. The Chinese national running team, in not long ago, might be about 20 years ago, but not long ago, they all got tested afterwards for drugs because their performance was so off the charts. And I think it was cordyceps that they'd been having. I'm pretty sure it was cordyceps which is one I take every day, that they'd been having as part of their sort of training nutrition, as it were. And their performance was so good, and they could only put it down to the fact that they'd introduced this adaptogenic herb into their sort of diet before on the run up to the race, that it made such a big difference. So the ones I take 8 of them. I have them in a little sachet already. I don't have to go through 8 packets every day because that would drive me nuts. Mine come in like a formulated sachet. And if you want any more information on that, click the link below this or in my bio if you're watching this on social media. And that will share a bit more about it with you, because I just get asked so many times. So I have ashwagandha. That's quite a popular one these days. You've probably heard that one already. Cordyceps. Reishi, maca. Maca is another popular one. It's known as Peruvian Viagra. It's just energy giving. Astragalus, or astragalus, some people say. Schisandra, Maytake, chaga. I wasn't even counting. I think I've just said 8 of them. But and they all pretty much do the same sort of thing, but they have different strengths for slightly different things. It's a bit like having eating healthy bacteria for our gut health. You don't just want to have one strain of healthy bacteria, because then you've got a preponderance of one particular strain. You want to be eating multiple sources of different types of healthy bacteria. Same goes for adaptogenic herbs. You want a good sort of You want a good range of adaptogenic herbs that you're eating to support you on every level, and they all work well together too. You can't overdose on an adaptogenic herb. So really, that's it. I think there's a misconception there. Mushrooms, are they dangerous? No, I've already covered that one. Are they hard to get hold of? Not really. Just make sure that you know where they're coming from and make sure it is a native source, a native country for that particular adaptogenic herb. If you're going to get any, I would go to your health food shop and just say, look, what adaptogenic herbs do you have? This is what I'm struggling with. Can you suggest, the ones that would be best for me? Or try the ones out that I use. They, like I say, I'm 52 and I think I have more energy now in my 50s than I did in my 20s. Honestly, I wish I had found them earlier, because my menopausal symptoms are reduced. I mean, yes, I do lead a relatively healthy lifestyle as well, but I'm no angel halo. There's no halo here. It's just like I enjoy food, I enjoy drink. Like I say, my sleep is rubbish at the moment. I live a very, very busy life, but I manage well. Before I used to take these, I did notice the difference. I was feeling sluggish. I did feel fatigued. In fact, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember those days when my kids were a bit younger, and when they were at school, and it's just before I would go out to collect them from school, and literally I could nearly fall asleep. I felt exhausted, and that happened to me every single day. Don't get that at all now. I haven't felt like that for years, and it's just like it's such a relief to not feel like you're trudging through treacle as sort of the sort of the noon hour moves through the clock. Honestly and truly, it makes such a big difference. They're also very good if you have things like inflammatory disease, bowel disease. I was listening to somebody this morning who has multiple sclerosis. She swears by them. I've got so many testimonials. I can send you some if you want. A girl I know, she used to spend thousands in Harley Street on her acne. Since she starts drinking these superfoods, she doesn't need it anymore. She doesn't need any more treatment. Fibromyalgia. I'm trying to think of other things. Gut health in the whole, mental health. If you're struggling with depression or low mood or anxiety, I would certainly give them a try. I would highly suggest you give them a go. So just to repeat the ones that I take, so that you can, if you want to go and explore those more, and I'll count them this time, so I'll make sure I say them all. There's ashwagandha, astragalus, schisandra, maytake, chaga, reishi, maca, and cordyceps. That's the 8 of them. Yeah, go and check those out. Cordyceps is a really funny little story. It's a caterpillar that it's a fungus that grows out of the back of a dead caterpillar. I think it's so cool. Yeah, it does sound a bit critterish, but that's the one. I'm pretty sure that's the one that those Chinese runners were taking that enhanced their performance so much. So give it a try. Caterpillars, dead caterpillars, or no dead caterpillars. So I really hope that was helpful to you. It's something that literally I just get asked about so much of the time, and I thought, well, I should really dedicate an episode of Menopause Monday to adaptogen herbs. They help keep that balance, and in a life that is erratic and imbalanced through the perimenopause and beyond, we need all the balance and the help that we can get. And it's a completely natural, safe, non-toxic way of providing ourselves with something that's going to support us on every level. Also, just quickly note that the food and the drink that we get hold of these days is not as nutritionally dense as it used to be. So, you might say, yeah, I still eat healthy, because I get this a lot. I eat ever so healthy. I eat really clean. I've got the builder out there. And that is also a stressor on the body. I have a lot of people that say to me, yeah, but I eat healthy. I should be able to get all of this from my diet. Well, I used to eat healthy. I still do, but I ate healthily too when I was feeling sluggish and not having that energy and wanting to fall asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think you have to try these things to actually experience the difference that they bring to your life. And I highly recommend you give them a shot. So like I say, I've got a link below if you want to find out more about the ones that I take. Otherwise, pop down to your health food provider and see what they've got, and take their advice. I'm sure they'll be able to advise you really well about adaptogenic herbs. But they'll also, as a side benefit, get rid of some belly fat too. So thanks very much for your time. Thank you for your company, and I hope you have a fabulous week ahead.